What's the secret to being 90 and still being able to play like that?
The piano is just a part of me.
Oliver.
Yes.
Happy birthday. Happy early birthday.
Thank you. Thank you.
How are you feeling at 90?
Well, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah?
So far, I've had about 2 or 3 birthday parties already, and I have about 7 more to go. And of course, it is a big birthday for me.
Yeah.
And so all of Montreal seem to be enjoying my birthday, and I can't ask for anything more.
The Montreal Jazz Festival had that big party for you for the 90th birthday. What was that like for you?
That was wonderful. The one great thing for me was that they played 9 of my pieces, and it's so unusual to hear someone play my original pieces.
Oh, yeah.
And how they interpret it. And so I was thrilled. I was in 7th heaven.
And you played too, right?
I wasn't planning on it.
Yeah.
But when I got up on stage and they all played so well, and so I was just thinking back, and I happened to go back into Hymn to Freedom.
Why did you choose to play, one of the greatest jazz compositions of all time, one of the greatest Canadian compositions of all time?
It just lent itself to that moment more than anything else. And one of my nieces, she said, "That Uncle Oliver, I know you're going to play. If you're going to play at all, you play Hymn to Freedom."
Oh, yeah.
And they all loved it. It was such a wonderful feeling. And I always think more than anything else that I'm honoring Oscar, and everyone seemed to have enjoyed it immensely.
I'm sure they have. It's such a lovely nod to Oscar as well. You were telling me some great stories before we turned the microphones on a little bit about like how you, I was talking to you a little bit about the piano and your old pianos. You were telling me this great story about your dad winning the lottery.
Yes, he did.
And that's how you got a piano?
Yes,
Could you
that's
tell
how
that
we
again?
bought. He was, he had studied some piano and taken some courses in Barbados years ago. I know it was important to him, but what happened is that he blames me for him not becoming an outstanding pianist, because when he got home from work at 4:30 or 5, he would sit down to go through his regular exercises and so forth. And apparently I used to scream until he picked me up, and so he had to put me on his knee while he was. So he said, that's why I didn't become the great pianist. And my mother got the bright idea. I was the youngest at the time, and so during the day when she wanted to do her housework, she said she would put me in front of the piano and tie something to keep me. And she said I started to listen to the notes, and she said I wasn't banging. And sometime within the next year, my sister Lillian said that that I'm actually playing something that I heard on radio.
What happened? Can you tell me the story? Because when I walked in, I was looking at some of the. It's amazing to see, by the way. It's like your Order of Canada and your Order of Quebec and your Juno Awards and your induction into the Canadian Music Hall of Fame, your ticket stub from when you played Carnegie Hall. And then I looked right next to that is a plaque from United Church,
Right.
for the many years there. Something happened there when you were like 5, right?
Yes, that was when I first heard Oscar. Every Thursday, they used to have concerts.
Like a little talent show or something.
Yes. And Oscar was there playing. He must have been 16, 17 years old.
It's a young man.
But the thing that that amazed me, I looked at his hands and I said, how is he going to be able to put those big fingers in between without hitting or making mistakes? And then I'm listening to him play, and there was no mistakes. We moved closer to Oscar's home. We were about 12, 13 doors away.
Yeah.
And so I used to be able to tell when he was playing. My good friend Ronnie Thomas lived right next door to him. So I would sit on the steps, and sometime Mr. Peterson would come by. And he never was a pleasant man as far
This is Oscar's father?
as Oscar's father.
Yeah.
And he would say, boy, are you there again? Don't you know that people got to go up those stairs and down? So I got in the habit of listening to Oscar, and then I would go home
Wow.
and try, not very successful.
Do you remember any of those tunes that you would have heard from him and that you would have went back and tried to play again?
Yes, Don't Blame Me.
Oh, that's so cool.
One day, I was about 8 or 9 years old,
Yeah.
and I was just about going out the door, and Oscar called me, and he had an older man there with him.
Yeah.
And he said, oh, Oliver, I want you to meet my friend. He turned to the man and he said, we have a young pianist who's studying with my sister, and he's also starting to play pop tunes and some jazz thing.
Yeah.
And so I sat down and I played Don't Blame Me. And there wasn't very much variety to what I just played, as simple as could be.
Mm.
And I remember he was behind me, the man, and he kept saying, That's all he was saying while I was playing. And when I finished, I stood up to get ready to go out.
Yeah.
And he sat down, and he took his left hand, and he just went like that.
Up and down the piano.
Up and down the piano. Yeah. And then he played Don't Blame Me, like I'd never heard it before.
Yeah.
And I said to myself, man, he plays nearly as good as Oscar.
Yeah.
It turned out he was Art Tatum.
No way.
Of course, I didn't know who he was. I didn't know who. And years later, I played for him
Didn't Duke Ellington come to town back in those days?
Oh,
and
Ellington,
Charlie Parker.
everyone, because Montreal was one of the stopping. When you went to Detroit or Buffalo, the next stop was Montreal.
Yeah.
And of course, as a youngster, I got to hear an awful lot of wonderful bands come through, and especially at our forum.
Yeah.
And Oscar also played the forum, and those were big days for me.
Did you see Charlie Parker?
Charlie Parker, yes,
How was that?
that was tremendous. That was outstanding. Of course, you know I played saxophone
Yeah.
very badly,
Yeah.
but hearing those guys, and later on getting the opportunity, I played with Flip Phillips, Gene Ammons, all of those players,
Yeah.
and got to play with wonderful players in New York.
Yeah.
I was working on Broadway.
Yeah.
That was one of my favorite jobs. Then I started to say to myself, I'm finally making it.
Yeah.
And I also had an opportunity to play Carnegie Hall
Because for people who don't know, you were on the road for
for a long time.
man, and
I was in Puerto Rico for 11 years.
you were on the. I was reading about you. Like it was hard on your health, right? Like you were on the road so much. Like it took a.
Well, yes, it did take a kind of bite out of me. I had a triple bypass and so forth.
Yeah.
But it was wonderful because when I came back from Puerto Rico, it was 1980.
Yeah.
And just by chance, I ran into the fellow who did a lot for
Who's that?
and that was Charlie Biddles. Charlie said, well, instead of going out playing with all of the local groups, come and play with me. So the biggest surprise in my life was that was my first job that I was really able to play jazz music.
Right, because you were playing pop tunes up to this point.
Pop,
so
all those
kind of whenever
things.
anyone, you were a musical director, you were in Vegas,
yeah.
you were in, yeah.
It was good work, and I was making good, steady money. So I said, Charlie, I don't know if he said, come on, you could do it. So I started playing, and I'm I'm waiting for someone to yell, play some.
Yeah. Play some pop, play some,
Play some pop.
Yeah,
no,
something we
and
know.
everyone that was coming into here, Charlie, because Charlie, whether he was playing Lullaby, Birdland, or everything that Charlie touched, he was playing jazz.
Oh, beautiful.
And so I got in a habit of mixing up different things with Charlie. And I was so shocked when Mr. George Dirtz opened the club and called it Biddles. And so I got my opportunity from them. And then the following year, which is second year of the festival, and I got to play at a first jazz festival.
Wow.
And it was something else.
Wow.
And then later, Tony Bennett, I opened for him, opened for Ella Fitzgerald, Sarah Vaughan,
Wow.
so many others.
Before this incredible career that you had, when you were telling those early stories of going over to Oscar Peterson's front step and listening, and his dad kicking you out of the way because you were blocking the stairs, you never performed together. And I think it was 2004 that you finally did perform together.
After I was retired,
Yeah.
I had promised my wife that at 65 I would stop playing. And so I was in Florida playing golf.
Mm-hmm.
And it was 4 years after. And so I got a call from Andre or Alain
Mm-hmm.
from Montreal Jazz Festival.
Yeah.
And we would talk, and he said, we're getting ready to celebrate our 25th. Will you come back and play? So I said, oh, no. I said, I haven't touched the piano at all, you know. And I had a piano with me in Florida.
Mm-hmm.
But I was enjoying being away and sunshine.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so they called 2 or 3 times. And then Alain called me one day. He said, look, I'm not going to, this is the last time that I'll call. And I want to know, what if we had you and Oscar play? I says, I'll talk to my wife and I'll call you back in a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
I got off the phone, and about 20 minutes later, I called him back. And I said, yes. I didn't realize that he was very sick.
Really?
And I knew that he wasn't playing that many concerts. But when he played with me, he was really just using his right hand.
Right.
And his right hand sounded like 3 of our normal hands. Mm-hmm. The night of the concert, Oscar and I said, well, what are we going to do? So he says, yes. You know, a good tune would be Just Friends. I said, that's perfect.
How's that go? Yeah.
So we played that, and we knew we were going to close with Hymn to Freedom.
Yeah.
And when we got finished playing Hymn to Freedom, I really cried, and so did he.
Why?
It was just I guess after all these years, and I knew he was nearly at the end of his career, but I was also looking across, and I was thinking of all the years that he has been a part of my life, both him and his sister, because his sister introduced me to the world of music. But he was my inspiration. And the thing about it is that people didn't remember, or they didn't believe, but I didn't even touch the piano in like the 4 years.
Yeah, you were off. You were retired. You were done.
And here I was crazy enough to get up and play next to it. But it was I was thinking of Daisy at that time. And I used to, it's strange, I didn't ever feel frightened or embarrassed to play when Oscar was there. Mm-hmm. But when Daisy was in the audience...
Your teacher was there.
Oh, yes. Yeah. I tried my best. And... but she always thought that I would have become the first black concert pianist. And who knows, maybe I could have. But now when I'm at home, it's the only thing that I'll play is,
Do you still play classical music?
oh yes.
What do you play? Can you give me a little bit? I'm putting you on the spot here, Oliver.
Yeah?
I'm putting you on the spot.
Yes, you are.
Beautiful. 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 So tell me, listen, this is the last thing I'll ask you. What's the secret to being 90 and still being able to play like that?
I don't think there's any secret. It's a matter of loving the piano for sure. But it's all the beautiful music. The piano is just a part of me. And at times I'll come down and I'll sit and play things that I've never played before and not touch it for a year or two. But but I'm always thinking about this place, this particular tune is this way. And sometime I'll remember a lot of the things that Daisy taught me. And some of the beautiful tunes that I've played over the years. I'm just very melancholy when it comes to
Oliver, that's so great to talk to you, man. Thanks for playing so much.
You.
I really do.
Pleasure.
I could sit down and listen to you play all day. Oh, listen, you sound good as you ever did. Thanks so much.
My pleasure.
A great honor for me.
Thanks for joining us here in Montreal.
Anytime.